Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow, good yesterday, good whenever or wherever you are. Welcome back to Apaya Puzzles. And today I'm going to be looking at my second live solve of a puzzle from thenation.com from left field, out of left field cryptics, aka Joshua Cosman and Henry Picciotto, who are really excellent cryptic setters. I came across these some years ago and really love them, and then I've just come back to them recently. I did the first one of these on the channel a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to follow through in succession on the Nation's website. Now, the Nation no longer publishes cryptics as far as I know, but a bunch of the back catalogue is still available. So this one's 3227. Last week I did 3226. That will be relevant, and I'll explain in a second. Yes, the two of them, I don't know how much they publish nowadays, but they do have a bunch of stuff that they sell on their website to do with puzzles. So that's worth checking out, including, I believe, the entire back catalogue of the Nation puzzles that they did. So difficulty, I would say, is middling. And I put a link in the description if you want to try and solve this yourself. I recommend it. They're definitely reliable setters. And although they are American, they don't rely heavily on Americanisms or particular American knowledge. So definitely worth a try. Now, what I mentioned about the puzzle number is, as I was putting this into the software, I realized there was an unusual clue, which is here. I'm going to make sure. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, cool. Number 7, Encore repeats something on a list nearly at speed 7 for anyone who solved last week's puzzle 9. So that's a really weird clue. I don't know what's going on with that, but I had a look at last week's or the previous editions of this, and indeed it did include this clue. I don't know what the answer was. But I've got the screen capture of that solve ready to bring up if we need it. So yeah, interesting to see what's happening there. Anyway, without further ado, let's get cracking. Comedy team is evergreen. One across. Comedy team is evergreen and resilient. So this is Laurel and Hardy, some amazing comedians, and an evergreen will be a Laurel, and to be resilient is to be hardy. So there we go. 2 down, fear Capone with a weapon. So this is going to be alarm, which is fear. Capone is Al Capone, and a weapon is an arm. So far so good. Reluctantly to begin with, I pardon lousy bit of weather. So R for that, for reluctantly to begin with. I pardon, for lousy bit of weather. Rainfall. Why would that work? I don't think it does. I'm not sure what that is. Let's not dally. 4 down, sanctioned part of a trip with Muhammad ending in London. So I guess Muhammad might be referring to Muhammad Ali. Sanctioned, let. But I would think sanctioned is the definition. Ending in London would be the end. Oh, maybe. Actually, maybe this is a place in London, because maybe Muhammad ending is the D, which would suggest an ED word, which makes sense for sanctioned. Part of a trip. Leg. That's got to be leg, right? So maybe it is actually sanctioned. Oh yeah, it's going to be legalized, I think. So leg is part of a trip. Ali is Ali for Muhammad, and ending in London. SED. Maybe it's not legalized. Sanctioned. Well, think it is legalised. I'll leave that for a second. Ending in London, SED. I mean, SE could be southeast in the postcode system over there. Not sure where the D would come from. I'll leave that for a second, but I think that's probably right. 10 across. Railroad, that is one of the three R's. So this, I guess, is reading or reading. Well, just because it's one of the three R's, but railroad, I don't know, maybe reading is synonymous with railroad for some reason. Seems, well, that 3 down was supposed to, I thought, have an I in the second place, so that would be, well, actually, and I was thinking rainfall, reluctantly to begin with, I pardon, loud, hang on, so, R-A-I-N, raindrop. So I pardon is an anagram, lousy is the anagram indicator. So we get ain drop after the reluctantly first letter, and that's a bit of weather, and it is indeed a bit of weather, so that's cool. That confirms probably reading. 12 across, directed and edited media. Aimed is an anagram of media. I'm going to have to take it on faith that reading is a railroad, or reading. 9 down, altering integral for mathematical figure. Well, it feels like an anagram of integral. Triangle, very nice, for the mathematical figure. 14 across, so this is actually easier than I was expecting. I've certainly done harder ones of theirs, although we've got many clues to come. Ugly female novelist makes cheese. Okay, I wonder if, no, okay. Grotesque, no, that doesn't work. Makes cheese, well, I don't really know my cheeses. I think it might be a cheese. Ugly, not sure. 20 across, border divided Germany. Oh, what's happening with this? Hang on, I'm just going to pause and make sure I've not entered this. Yeah, yeah, I misdid something here. This is, this I figure is not supposed to be there. I'll correct that in the link that you guys have access to. Border divided Germany down the middle. Well, I guess edge might be a border. Divided, oh, okay, so divided Germany has the word edge spelt out directly in the middle. So down the middle, that's a hidden clue, as they call them. 15 down, complex procedure to equip Gertrude of Orgagasta, for example. Yikes. Well, that might need me to know something about some people, which is not my strength. No, I'm not going to waste too much time thinking on that one just yet. Former Indian leader exalting primordial chicken. Wow, okay. Wow, I don't know what is going on there. I think this is going to start with an L. She washes as the Spanish disrobe. Oh shit. Right back with you. Right, it's all happening this morning. I just spilt some coffee. That's my excuse for taking time off to look at the dictionary. Okay, so she washes as the Spanish disrobe. I don't think I had much of a thought on that. So it's getting harder, just as I said it was easier. 6, Bob for 1 is rigorous about intelligence operations up front. Rigorous around IO. And we want a Bob. Don't know. What's a word for rigorous? 4 letters starting with H. Hard. No, I don't know. Let's try the Y. That should be easier. Americans can be jerks. Well, that is easier. That's Yanks. Americans and jerks. Oh, this is the encore question. Well, it certainly looks like an RE word. Repeat something on a list nearly at speed. Now, do we need to solve that first? For anyone who solved last week's puzzle, well, I mean, people who solved last week's puzzle might be returners, I guess. Something on a list nearly at speed. Gosh. Repeaters as well. I guess there's a bunch of things it could be. Resolvers. And resolvers would be good because we're solvers. I just don't know what. I don't know if I want to go through the machinations trying to figure that out without the letters in place, because it just feels very weird. McClellan follows head over heels Thai Island resident. So IAN for Ian McClellan, head over heels, and then a Thai Island resident. It's obviously the kind of demonym for someone who lives on one of the islands in Thailand, but do I know that island? I don't really know much about Thailand, and so we need to know what head over heels means, which is normally kind of, is that just a synonym for something like being infatuated with, or is it wordplay-ish? It could be, oh, well, what about, no, I was going to say Haitian, but that's not a Thai island. Could be head though, and heels. No, this isn't going to be an H though, is it? Well, it could be, given that we might be looking for the name of a primordial chicken. She washes. Oh, we looked at this, so this is definitely stumping me. We get the I. Wow, we get the I there. Interesting. So for anyone who solved last week's puzzle. Reissuer. I don't know. 17. Soft melody for 2. What's soft? Oh yeah, so soft is P, and a melody is an air, and for 2 is a pair. P for soft is a music abbreviation. 18 down. Hold back to filter again. So something. Resist. No. Repress. Filter. Screen. Clean. Well, if I can get 21, then that should help. Unusual. Good lord, this is a long one as well. Unusual painkillers. They are used in Three Musketeers and the Seven Samurai. Right. Jesus. 10 letters. Well, I mean, The Three Musketeers and the Seven Samurai, presumably both of those would use swords. 3-7 though. Well, I was thinking this was an E for legalize. Let's go on that assumption. Sorry, ED for D. Well, now that seems unlikely. And it didn't make sense with the clue anyway. Because what would this first word be? Odd? Well, yeah, odd for unusual. This is good. Well, I have no idea what this term though is. So anyway, unusual, odd, painkillers, tablets, Seven Samurai. Odd numbers. Yeah, okay, painkillers is numbers. That's a pretty common thing. And odd numbers are 3 and 7. So that's a quite oblique definition. A question mark probably would be warranted there, I think. But yeah, that's a fun clue. Now that seems to confirm legalized. Yeah, this 18 down, I think I'm still going to struggle. 19 down, carol about long-running TV show, It's First Rate. Hopefully I don't need to know an actual carol. I think it's going to be carol in the sense of a song. And it could be actually the word song, I guess. Long-running TV show. So I'm thinking that if it was song, you could have it like this. And then there's a TV show in here. I have to end in I though for ing. That doesn't seem right. Might not be song. It could be another word for song or another word for carol. Or is it an actual carol? It can't be an actual carol, surely. It's First Rate. Seems to be the definition. No, stray wantonly with lecher. Well, this just looks like an anagram of stray, I think. But the problem is, I don't know what a lecher is. Can I think of an anagram of that will look plausible? I'm not sure that I can. Rasty. Lecher. If you're lecherous, what does that mean? And is that is it an anagram? And wantonly is it's a decent anagram indicator, I think. Not sure. No, okay, so now and you know, I said it was easier, and it was to begin with, but there were certainly some difficult words on the last edition. I think yclept, YCLEPT was the standout for me. Amazing word. So 26. 26. Endeavoured to overlook source for valuable collection. Well. I was going to say tried for endeavoured, and then I was looking for the wordplay. But I think it's a word for collection, and we need to find a word for endeavoured that has a V in it and take that V out. So the word for endeavoured is overlooking the source letter of valuable, that is the V. So a word for endeavoured with a V in it. I mean, endeavoured itself has a V in it, but yes, this is a trove. Nice. Okay. To endeavour is to strive. Endeavoured is strove. I think you could probably say strived as well. I'm not sure. But strove is overlooking the V, the first letter of valuable, to give us a collection, which is a trove. That's a nice find. Hello, future editing Jordan here, just with a correction there. I mistakenly got to that answer by thinking I needed a word for endeavoured that meant strove. or that meant that a word for endeavour that it contained a V that would then be removed. And that got me to strove, which has the V, and of course then we don't remove the V, we remove the S, which is its own source letter, and the definition being valuable collection. So I got a bit lucky there because I was driven towards strove because of its V, when in fact it didn't have to have a V in it, but I got to the answer, so that is all that matters. And back to old me. 28. Rani ruined belt in African city. So Nairobi. Rani ruined is Nair. Belt in African city. Well, maybe an obi is a karate belt or something like that. That seems like a plausible Japanese term. Tempted to look that up actually. Let's do that. A broad sash tied in a large flat bow at the back, worn by Japanese women and children as part of the national costume. Okay, so we're in the right part of the world, but I can say that. Is karate Japanese? I'm not sure, but yeah, there we go. So, well, this is an I, so that could be ing. And it was its first rate. Oh, I don't know. 16 down. Country inhabited by sleepy yes men. 4, 2, 3. Is that a nod? Yeah. Land of Nod. So it's a kind of figurative clue, I think. A country that's inhabited by sleepy yes men would be the land of Nod. That is those that are nodding in yes, and those that are to nod off kind of thing is to be sleepy. So that's a cool clue. And did we have a look at this one? We think we did, yeah. So let's start here with the O on the end. Could be, well, it's 2 words actually, so this could be helpful. Locals finally out squat stranger where things are now. Status quo fits, and I think that's going to have to be right for where things are at now. Locals finally, which is the S, I think, out squat is an anagram of status quo, which is, so it's being made stranger, and things are now. Okay, 23. Look what I did at first, successfully resurrected slain Arab leader. Slain Arab leader. Good grief. I don't know about that. 27. Determined opening game piece. 2, 2, 3. Well, that should be easy, I think, but I'm not seeing it. Long one. Strenuous questioning for a PhD often. 3, 5, and 6. Yeah, so what's the expression? So this is degree. I can't remember what the expression is. Well, the third degree, is that what we were saying? Somehow that doesn't feel right. think I'm wrong on this. I just can't. Yeah, I'm not thinking straight. Letters in marquee. Well, this is queer. Marquee reveal has the letters queer directly inside. Title of William Burroughs' opus must be queer. So yeah, it must be, yeah, give them the third degree. I think that's right. Somehow that just feels wrong. 22 down. In Chad Rupert, reversed seclusion. So this, wow, another new word for us today, or for me. Perda, I think, is going to have to be right. So in Chad Rupert has the word P-U-R-D-A-H spelt backwards, reversed. So that's inside, and the word seclusion, I think, must be perda. I wonder if that's some sort of biblical term or something, or maybe some sort of religious thing, I think. Practice in certain Muslim and Hindu societies of screening women from men or strangers, especially by means of a curtain. All right, there you go. So this one here, 27, should be, wow, 223. I've spelled this wrong. That makes more sense. 223. So this is do or die. Now, opening is a door, and a game piece is a die. So some nice misdirection there. So this word here must be this Arab leader. Now, so I don't know who that is, and it looks like, well, what does "look what I did" have to do with things? At first, successfully resurrected. Slain Arab leader. Not sure. I'm going to maybe come back to that. So, well, complex. A lot of vowels which are not as helpful as consonants. Procedure to equip Gertrude or Jocasta, for example. No. So we're going to have to tackle some of these other ones now without an enormous amount. Well, this one's got quite a few letters, but if it's a cheese, I might struggle, especially if it's something of a bit kind of common in America and not elsewhere. Ugly. Female novelist makes cheese. I'm going to struggle with this. So this second letter, vowel or an R or an L, or I guess potentially something like an H. But ugly. I just keep thinking grotesque. What's a short word for ugly? A really short word. And female novelist. I mean, this feels like it could be anything. When I first looked at this, I thought novelist might be an anagram indicator, slightly inaccurate one, but ugly female doesn't have the appropriate letters. Well, let's come back around. This could be reinstate, but I think it could be. But does it work with the word play? It doesn't feel like it to me. Doesn't end in an E, which is in an S, which I thought it would do. So maybe it is an encore. Anyone who solved last week's puzzle. Do I look at last week's puzzle? I think I do, because I don't want to kind of waste too much time if like it's almost impossible to solve without that. So here we go. Hopefully you can see that well enough. And we have over here, so repeat something on a list nearly at speed 18 down, and the answer to 18 down was iterate. Well, this might just explicitly tell us the answer, because it looks like we can just put that in there. Okay, so if that was correct, to reiterate would be to encore, I think. Last week's answer was iterate. Yeah, okay. so that's a quirky setup, but I think it's correct. 13 across. She washes as the Spanish disrobe. So this might be laundress. I think that's a word. Yeah, so the Spanish is la. I was confused because I was thinking of L-E-L, but la also works. And to disrobe is undress, and a laundress is is she washes. But 5 down now. Well, I thought it might be, when I just saw the N and the U, I thought Nauru, but that has nothing to do with the clue. So this, I think, will be a former Indian leader, which I'm not good with. Exalting primordial chicken. Well, to be chicken is to be weak or cowardly. Does exalt? What does exalt mean here? There's no U in the clue, so there's no anagrams going on. That's annoying. 6 down. Bob for 1 is rigorous about intelligence operations up front. Wow. I had thought that IO would be intelligence operations up front, with a word for rigorous around it. Oh well, what if the O is at the end? Because yeah, actually O could be at the end. I for intelligence could be a natural abbreviation, so it doesn't need the upfront. And then we have this word, there we go, nice. So it is hard. Rigorous is hard, around I for intelligence, and then the word, the first letter of operations. And a hairdo is a bob is a type of hairdo. So nice. So this McClellan follows head over heels. Could it be trip? If you go head over heels, you trip. Is there a tripium? It doesn't seem like that's going to be right. It's high island. Smitten. Is there another word? Can you just say smit? Is this Smittian? Who knows? It's tricky, that. Well, if it, hang on. The head idea for H kind of makes sense. Head over heels. So this would have to be heels. Don't see how it's going to work. Does fit with Haitian, but that's not right. No. It is Haitian. And this kind of like vaguely passed through my consciousness earlier, but I didn't pay attention to it. But head over heels as an anagram indicator on the word Thai gives us H-A-I-T, and then the definition is just island resident. Now, I'm silly not to have noticed that. Now this, I think, is Neru. That somehow rings a bell. Let's see if we can figure out how it would work. So former Indian leader I think is Nehru. Exalting primordial chicken. Well, that makes less sense to me, but I don't see what could possibly make sense to me with that. Well, that is your... there we go. So, exalting is a reversal indicator. That had also crossed my mind, but I didn't see how it was working, and it seemed like a strange reversal indicator. But a primordial chicken is a Ur hen. I don't know how you say that word. I think it is. I'm not sure. But Ur is the name of an ancient city, and so the primordial chicken would be one from that place. So Nehru is the former Indian leader. Good grief. Pleased that I stuck at that. I was on the verge of giving up. So stray wantonly. Well, this still looks like an anagram. Ratsy, lecture. Wow, there's not many things you can do because only one vowel. Ooh, is there a word? Like, I was thinking satire. Let's look at 18 because the final letter. We should be able to get this one. Hold back to filter again. To filter. Hold back. Damn. This is where I might end up cutting my pause time out so you guys aren't sitting with me in my suffering, just ingesting, just imbibing my suffering and suffering by osmosis with me. Maybe this one's possible. Carol, about long-running TV show. It's first rate. Well, it definitely is an ing, which really strongly suggests that song is going to go around the outside. And we've got... Oh no, but there's no O. Unless it's sing. Because you can carol as a verb, I think. Beautiful. Smashing. Right, so MASH is the TV show, and sing is around the outside. And this is an S for 25 across. So maybe this is... Well, I think if it's an anagram, it can only be that. Yes, and this is, oh well, I thought it was restrict, because hold back is to restrict, but that doesn't fit. So to hold back, well, this would have to be a restrain, and to filter is to strain. There we go. Good grief, managed to get there. This one seems to me like it's going to be something like that, but I don't know that I can tell. Well, it's got I do in it, which interested me because you've got I did in the clue. Successfully at first would be potentially the S. Resurrected is going to be, it's going to be, this is sada. So look what I did is tada. At first successfully is S. All of that goes backwards as resurrected, it rises. And the slain Arab leader must be Saddar or Sadat. Complex procedure to equip Gertrude or Jocasta, for example. Now this one I don't know. I really don't. To equip. I just don't know. I don't think I can solve that. And then this one as well. Ugly female novelist makes cheese. I reckon once I see this, I'll know. Hang on. Well, surely this is. I don't know the spelling. Well, that's a cheese, and what's the chances of that roughly fitting and not being correct? So ugly. It could be misspelt, but ugly female novelist. I don't know. Does Gorgon? Where's ugly? I don't, because the female novelist could be anything. I guess it could be Solar, but that would require Gorgon to be ugly. But this has to be right, isn't it? I'm going to look that up. The spelling might be not correct. The R, though, I think would be correct. So complex procedure to equip Gertrude or Jocasta, for example. To equip is to rig. So now we're looking for a complex procedure. Rig. How do we spell this? Rigmarole. So complex procedure is rigmarole. To equip is a rig. Gertrude or Jocasta, for example, is marole. So that might be a name. And actually this is because it's American, that S is supposed to be a Z. That's what I was thinking was weird. I thought, sure, there's a Z in Gorgonzola. Legalized is with a Z in American English, and ending in London is ZED, in the sense that British people and Australians indeed pronounce the word Z, ZED, as opposed to Z, like the Americans. So that's quite funny, because I've been tripped up by them attempting to appeal to my pronunciation sensibilities, and I've missed that trick and misspelt it along similar lines. And yeah, so Gorgonzola is now, well, let's look that up. Gorgon and Zola. Does Gorgon have anything to do with ugly? Yes, I think. Yeah, okay. Each of three sisters with snakes for hair, who had the power to turn anyone who looked at them to stone. So that must be what's going on. Or is there more ugly female? So that's presumably that. And then and then the novel. Well, the novelist is Zola. I think. There we go, Emile Zola. So yeah, I'm not sure if I've heard of those works, so maybe not that well known. Now Sada, we know is correct. Well, we know, I think everything's correct at this point, but there's a few words that are interesting to look up. Let's look up satyr. Greek mythology, one of a class of lustful, drunken woodland gods. So let's actually look up lecher as well, because I wasn't sure what that meant. A lecherous, well, a lecherous man. Thanks for the circular definition, Google. A vile, drunken lecher. So just, yeah, just a bit of a dick. Nehru was the Indian leader. We figured that out eventually. Yanks, pair, Gorgonzola, edge, odd numbers, restrain, satyr, smashing, Nairobi, etc., etc. Perda, we looked that up. Third degree was right. What's this? What have I done here? Oh, that's do or die. I was thinking door die. That's not a word. And I think that might be it. I think there might have been a couple of passings. Actually, let me pause and review to see if there's some passings I didn't actually figure out. Yeah, I think the one thing left is this this rigmarole where we've got Gertrude or Jocasta. So let's have a look at Jocasta. Again, this Greek, they're really big on their history or their ancient Greek and whatnot. Well, I suppose then maybe I should be looking up the word morale if that is. Well, no, I don't mean morale. I mean, oh well, actually, have I even spelt that right? Well, I have to have because that's how it's spelled in there. Rigmarole. Morale means. Maybe. Gertrude. Don't know what to think about that. Complex procedure. To equip is to rig. Gertrude or Jocasta, for example, must be morale. That doesn't seem to come up in Google, but I'm gonna rest there and assume that even Google's not clever enough to solve that one. Beautiful puzzle. Some really tricky plays, and pretty straightforward start, and then it kind of started to really get harder. There's some, yeah, I think this is a bit of a trait of these guys' puzzles, that they have these really kind of quirky clues like this, where you got the your hen as a primordial chicken. That's really stretching the imagination. And also some tricky words. They're not afraid of introducing a few kind of what to me are, you know, lesser known things like Purda, and then some names like Sadat. So thank you so much to Joshua and Henry for the setting of this and the many puzzles they've done. As I said, check them out on Twitter and Left Field Cryptics. And I'll be back again soon with another video. Take good care.